Gen Z has just started to enter the workforce, and we're already so fed up with it. From 57% of Gen Z saying that they would be influencers if they could, to quiet quitting, to the controversy of 9 to 5 girl, it's becoming crystal clear that our employment system is not working out for our newest job-ready generation. But wait, how is that even possible when we have so many technological innovations that make working easier and more efficient? Is Gen Z just a bunch of lazy snowflakes that don't want to work? Shut up, loser! I was about to tell them that.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you better be. Jeez, can you believe this nutcase? Anyways, to understand why Gen Z is so disenchanted with the workplace, we're going to do a deep dive into all of the problems and challenges that Gen Z has to face, and we'll see just how deep this Gen Z disillusionment crisis rabbit hole really goes. If you ask anyone who has gone through the job search process recently, they'll tell you just how horrific finding a job, any job, is. And it's way worse for Gen Z. Since many Gen Z recently graduated from college and from high school, they don't have the years and the years of experience that many organizations and companies require to be hired. Couple that with economic uncertainty, and finding a job in a field that interests these candidates is nightmarish. I know college graduates that have sent out hundreds and hundreds of applications, hundreds of resumes, to only get a couple of responses back.
Oh, well, maybe they just don't have enough experience or skills.
Dude, we talked about this. Keep in mind that most Gen Zers are just beginning to enter the workforce, meaning that they're applying to entry-level jobs that don't require any prior experience. And these are people with skills, with degrees, with educations. They went to college, and they're still not getting a freaking interview from freaking Target. And when did it become okay for companies that aren't interested in hiring you to just completely ghost you? I have friends that have applied to jobs and gone through multiple rounds of interviews just to hear weeks later that the company hired someone else without letting them know. Like, how dehumanizing is that? And it's so common for companies to do this nowadays. Like, it's almost become the norm. Like, I understand if you don't want to hire me, but at least give me the human decency to let me know so that I can move on with my life and apply to other jobs. To me, that is the bare minimum, and companies can't even do that. Say that you're lucky enough to find a job. You've been working for 2 weeks and you're so excited to finally get paid. You've been living frugally, cooking all your own meals, passing on all your favorite foods at the grocery store, declining to go to any social events, cutting out anything that isn't completely necessary for you to make ends meet this month. You know that once you get paid, you can ease up a little bit. Start to enjoy life a little bit more. Go out with friends every few weeks. And God forbid, treat yourself once in a while. That Friday, you go home with your very first paycheck in hand, so excited to open it up. But as you pull the check out of the envelope, sudden confusion, your pay is less than you thought. It's hundreds and hundreds of dollars less. And it hits you. Even though you've been spending less, after tax, this paycheck is enough to cover rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, with just a little bit left to spare after. Your entire future flashes before your eyes. You realize that even if you work your butt off every single week at this rate, you'll only be paid enough to cover your basic needs. You don't have enough to save up in case of an emergency. You don't have enough to live life how life should be lived. You have just enough to get by. You spent months getting this job. You can't leave now. It could take months more to find another one. You feel so trapped. Is this your destiny for the rest of your life? This is the reality being faced by so many Gen Zers entering the workforce. And don't even get me started on finding affordable housing. But that's a rant for another time. Many of the Gen Z workers who are now entering the workforce are recent graduates of high school, community college, and university. Because of that, so many of us are so used to being able to walk to class, to bike or skateboard to class, to take the school bus, or to use the ample public transportation that is so common around these public institutions. But commuting to work is a different beast. Especially for Gen Z, for whom cheaper housing further away from job centers is a necessity, commuting can be horrific. Let me tell you, 9 to 5 girl was completely right. Commuting, especially if you live in a place like LA, like me, is time-consuming and mentally taxing, often leaving no time at all for friends, for family, for fun, for health, for the gym, and even for professional career building activities outside of work. I'm going to start this section off by saying this. Pay your interns. Their labor is crucial, so pay them. Stop exploiting these young people just because you can. It's also a matter of accessibility. If you're a recent graduate, maybe first generation, maybe you had to work through school but you still have some loans to pay off, there is no chance that you can even think about taking an internship that doesn't pay you if you can't afford it. But if you come from a wealthy family, maybe you don't have to worry about student debt, maybe you don't have to worry about paying for housing and food in a different city, then of course you can take an internship that doesn't pay you. You can take it just for the experience, and if it doesn't do anything for you, then no worries. Unpaid internships reinforce the cycle of inequity. For Gen Zers looking for entry-level positions in the workforce, jobs are vastly underpaid. It used to be that you could support your spouse and family of 4 while saving up for a comfortable retirement by being a cashier at the local grocery store. Nowadays, you can barely support just yourself with a university degree, fluency in 3 languages, proficiency in Excel, Adobe Suite, Python, Java, and years of professional experience under your belt. It's no wonder so many Gen Z want to be social media influencers. The conventional path just does not work anymore. Jobs just do not pay enough to live a normal, comfortable life. Ever since the pandemic and the rise of remote learning and remote work, Gen Z has gotten so used to the flexibility of remote. Once we saw that working from home makes us so much more flexible and saves us an hour or 2 of commute each day, not to mention making us so much more happy, healthy, and energized, we thought we would never go back to in-person work. But now that things are pretty much back to normal, it seems that so many workplaces are back in person. And I'm not even saying that every workplace should go fully remote. I think that a hybrid schedule, 2 to 3 days of in-person work, 2 to 3 days of remote work would be completely fine. And it would go such a long way in improving our mental and physical health, our well-being, and our happiness. I understand if your work involves physical labor or something that you have to be on site for, then remote work isn't really possible. But a lot of Gen Z are coming into their entry-level positions and they're being told, oh, we don't do remote work here. And the natural next question that Gen Zers have is, why not? According to a recent Gallup poll, 94% of people rejected the idea of working on-site full-time. That's an absurd amount. To put that into perspective, less than 60% of people believe that the country should provide healthcare for Americans. Freaking healthcare! 94% of employees say that they don't want to work in person full-time, and companies are still forcing them to do so? For what? For questionable, marginal at best increases in productivity? Like, how little do you care about the voice and the opinions and the well-being of your employees? There are so many benefits that remote work has for employees. Every day it saves on average an hour and 12 minutes in commute time. And it's also a matter of accessibility. A lot of Gen Z and a lot of workers in general have parents, grandparents, children to take care of. Remote work allows them to spend time with their family and take care of them while at the same time being able to put food onto the table. For those of you who don't have a standard job, or maybe you're still in school, you've probably heard of the phrase 9 to 5, and you've probably heard about how soul-sucking, exhausting, life-draining it is. I'm so happy to tell you that it's worse than that. The 9 to 5 isn't real. Because you have to take a lunch break and you aren't paid for your lunch break, that adds another hour to your day. So in reality, your 9 to 5 turns into an 8 to 5 or a 9 to 6, not even counting huge commute time. Hello, Editing Kobe here. I just wanted to add this. Have you ever heard of the 888 rule? If not, it's basically a guideline for living a balanced life, and it says that in each day, in each 24 hours, you should spend 8 hours for work, 8 hours for leisure time, and 8 hours for sleep. And if you think about the 9 to 5, it sounds all fine and dandy, you know, 9 to 5, you have 8 hours right there. But in reality, the 9 to 5 kind of makes having this 888 rule impossible. Let's see, so you have your 9 to 5, that's 8 hours. Then you also have 1 hour of commute, that's 9 hours. Then you have 1 hour of unpaid lunch break where you have to be at work or somewhere near work, that's 10 hours. And then you have to spend another hour getting ready for work in the morning. That's 11 hours. And that only leaves you 5 hours for leisure time. So even though your leisure time and your work time were supposed to be both balanced at 8 hours each, you end up spending more than double the amount of time on work-related activities than you have for your leisure time. 9 to 5 Girl was completely right. And for all of the people out there saying, oh, back in my day, I worked a 9 to 5 as well, so Gen Z should suffer through it too. How would that ever be the right response? The 9 to 5 was a problem when you went through it, and it's an even bigger problem now. Gen Z has just started to enter the workforce, and we're already fed up with it. 77% of Gen Zs say that they are looking for a new job, and for good reason too. Jobs suck. Still, I don't want to be all doom and gloom, so I thought I'd end us off here with some solutions. Is office morale low for your Gen Z employees? Let them work hybrid. I can't stress this enough. Your employees will be so much more happy and so much more energized to work. They might even feel like you care about them. And that might make them care about you too. Pay your employees more. Let's think about this. A lot of companies are proud of the fact that they pay their employees a living wage. A living wage is the baseline level of income necessary to afford adequate shelter, food, and other basic necessities. You're proud of that? That your employees can afford basic necessities? Wow, we pay our employees so much they can afford to eat and live. Of course your employees are tired and fed up with it. They only have enough to afford their basic necessities. There's no room for saving, no room for fun, no room for social mobility. Living wage jobs force employees to live paycheck to paycheck. Of course Gen Z want to leave these jobs. You want your employees to be happy and work for you for a long period of time? Then act like it. Bottom line, stop treating your Gen Z employees like they're workers and nothing else. Maybe that's worked in the past, but it's not working now. Treat them like they're human beings. Like they have lives outside of work. Listen to them. Like genuinely listen to them. And understand what they need in a job. Care at all. Care about them. Treat them right and maybe they'll treat you right too. Go to bat for them and maybe they'll go to bat for you too. We need to stop expecting our Gen Z to be happy in their jobs when their jobs don't even treat them with basic human respect. And for those of you who are Gen Z out there, hang in there. Whether you're in school, searching for a job, working a job that you hate, or maybe one that you love, or doing something else entirely, you're gonna crush it. I know it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and watch my entire YouTube library on 0.25 times speed. It really helps me out, and bye-bye. See you tonight.